Initially wanting to review this film, I had a totally different discussion in mind. But now, after hearing from the critics and reviewers alike, we need to talk about something totally different. Welcome back to my channel. It's Tyra here with another struggle review, here to discuss the brand new Netflix Oscar bait film, Hillbilly Elegy. Now, initially when I came in to review this film, because I watched it last night, I was like, I'm going to review this, feeling a certain way about the film myself. But I just happened, to look it up. And you saw these negative reviews and the critic reaction and Rotten Tomatoes, along with watching others review this film and the negative feedback it's getting. We need to have a whole other discussion entirely. Before we get into how I feel about Hillbilly Elegy and the double standard that's maybe happening here, I need you guys to drop down and subscribe to my channel and like this video. I'm going to give you guys a moment to do that, and then we're going to come back and discuss all things Hillbilly Elegy. Let's get into what this movie is about. This movie is about a young law student who returns to his, Ohio roots for a family emergency. This movie is directed by the elite Ron Howard. And this movie is based on a book by J.D. Vance. This is kind of his life story, about himself rising up, from his upbringings all the way to the prestigious Harvard Law School and his family and things he's had to deal with, Watching this movie, initially, I didn't have much of a problem with it. I watched it and I saw certain things and I expected certain things. It's called, hillbilly. So you expect, outback, country, maybe maybe not the best circumstances, and good acting for the most part. Because when I saw names like Glenn Close and Amy Adams, I knew what to expect. These are very great. These women did so great here. But after hearing other opinions, like, oh my God, these characters had no nuance. How dare they display things like this? These are one-dimensional characters. One-dimensional characters? How dare they display things like this? Now, watching the movie, we see, the movie's kind of split between the J.D. Vance character as a teenager versus him as a young adult now trying to make it, get these interviews and, get this prestigious job, and his girlfriend, his Indian girlfriend, who's like playing everybody's beautiful Indian girlfriend in Hollywood now, Latika. I'm sorry, I don't know her name. Gorgeous woman, like she's there, like we see that. And we kind of go back and forth between him not feeling quite comfortable with where he is in life because he doesn't feel quite worthy. Because, I'm not from here. I don't know these things. I don't know the difference between a spoon and a fork and what to use. This is not me. I feel out of place. And I feel out of place because of where I've come from. And we go back and forth with that. Now, as we get into the mother character, Amy Adams, and you see how she treats her son and how she feels about, her parents and the hillbilly of it all, them being a cohesive family, but so disconnected from each other, but still living on the same street in separate houses. And we see, his surroundings, people hanging about, and people, really with no direction. They don't know what to do with their life, if they want to do anything with their life at all. There's talk of, the grandmother being pregnant at 13 and stuff that happens. Stuff that happens. And what I'm just not understanding is what nuance and dimension are you critics speaking of? Because when it comes to movies that depict us, there isn't always a lot of nuance and dimension involved. Now, when I saw this film in completion, it immediately made me think of an older Lifetime film. It was called Homeless at Harvard. Man, Lifetime used to be the man. And you see a girl, you know, she's making it all the way to Harvard despite, you know, drug addicted parents. And I think it was some schizophrenia going on and her horrible uplift. The parents were horrible. It made me think of that. But I guess seeing it here on a grander scale and just hearing critics go, well, why? Well, why were these things happening? Granted, they could have given Glenn Close and Amy Adams a lot more material to work with. No, I have not read the book, so I don't know if that was quite there. But it seems to be a big problem with the way his life was depicted and the way these women were shown. Pretty much in a bad light. What? Since when? I've seen, in my 30 years, I've seen so many African American, Latino, the spectrum characters depicted in a negative light and no nuance and dimensions given for them. There isn't a ton of time spent on why this person became this way, or, you know, the environment, or even considering the environment that they were brought up in to be this way. It just is. And we just watch it because it's what's expected. They're like that. Why do we need to give any nuance? But here, it's depicted, and it's like, well, wait, whoa. You're not going to give us any backstory on why the mom is, you know, so into those drugs, why she's choosing to be, you know, a heroin addict, why, you know, the grandmother is so nonchalant as far as, you know, how her daughter is like that, but at the same time, she's, you know, kind of cradling her and making excuses and, you know, the stereotypical, don't you see, I'm trying to do this. I'm, you know, going from man to man and, you know, beating my children for lack of, like, there was a lot of, you know, aggressive behavior on her part, her slapping and beating and lashing out and being a certain way towards her kids because of how she was brought up, which we only get a little bit of backstory into that as far as the grandmother. But since when did we need all this nuance? Since when did they need a reason? We often don't need a reason, and I hate that here. It's so much backlash being given. For the most part, I enjoyed this film. There are just so many movies with a certain demographic depicted in a certain light. I just don't like that it gets here, because we don't get a whole, you know, ton of movies like this, not on a grand scale, not with, you know, a Glenn Close and an Amy Adams to go, well, wait, no. Where's the nuance? Get out of here. Get this out of my face. But granted, even with the notes I had for my initial review, I wanted more backstory on these characters. I wanted these characters to have a little more time. I wanted more than, you know, just a few spurs, flashbacks of this is, you know, kind of what happened to mom and this is why she is this way. I wanted more. But it wasn't just so in contrast for me to go, I'm just taken out of the whole story. Another thing that I've heard is, well, this movie is depicting women in such a bad light. His grandmother and his mom aren't the best characters. So what? How often do we get that? When I saw that, that made me think of, you know, movies like Netflix's Imperial Dreams or Moonlight. It really made me think of Moonlight. The mother in Moonlight, the way she was, you know, displayed, and, you know, she was angry, she was on drugs, she was abusive, She was, you know, the I'm trying mom, but I just can't get past my own bullshit to be a true mother to you. I'm succumbing to, you know, these surroundings, these circumstances, these drugs, and I'm taking it out on you as my son. I saw that. We didn't get any nuance for her. We didn't get a lot of dimensions for her. She was a full-blown drug addict and out and proud about it. We didn't get anything with her. So why is it so urgent that we have it here? At the end of the day, this movie not only, you know, had those hillbilly elements, those, you know, kind of tasteless elements that we don't like to talk about, that we don't want to see depicted on screen, but you also saw positive things like the grandmother, you know, stepping in and going, we're going to break what this movie is about, you know, these generational curses, us being trapped and confined by how we were raised in our upbringings. You don't have to be this way just because you are in this family. We saw, you know, the grandmother stepping in and, you know, ripping it like, no, we're not doing this. I have to be here for my grandson, because if I'm not, who is? We don't often get that. We don't get displays of that in every movie, especially Black movies. The family is shit all the way across the board. Nobody's stepping in. You're pulling yourself up by your own bootstraps and overcoming your circumstances. Nobody's assisting you. We got that here. We got, you know, though the grandpa and the Meemaw were many things, there was still, you know, attachment there. There was still love. There was still love amongst that community. You know, when we saw, you know, the funeral happening and, you know, the people were out with their hats. It's like, you know, Meemaw, why are they doing that? Because they have respect for their dead. We saw love and compassion in this film, not only on the Meemaw's part, but on the J.D. Vance character's part, as far as his mom and the sister. The sister here, the character, is great. The actress were great. There were some great moments in this film, some great acting in this film, some realistic moments in this film about, you know, family choosing to be who they are no matter what you try to do. You can't help someone who doesn't want to be helped. And there comes a time where you have to make the decisions to go, I'm kind of hurting myself by being here. I can only do so much. I can't help you if you don't want it. So the best decision for me to make is to go about what I need to do to continue to help you as much as I can. But at the end of the day, I have a life also. I have things that I'm trying to achieve. And I can't let this mentality and this upbringing and the way you choose to live your life break me down. Persevere. Now, with the ending in the, you know, one dimension of it all and the no nuance of it all, and these two female characters being displayed in such a negative light, we still got glimpses of Amy Adams at her best as a mom. We also got, you know, her drugged out, possibly, you know, endangering herself, her trying to shoot up heroin, her abusing her children, her lashing out, her breakdowns. We saw all of that, you know, her mental being off, and she's going through in the nursing, you know, jeopardizing her job at you know, skating at the hospital. We saw that. But we also got to see, you know, what kept pulling the JD character in. Because, like, you know, my mom is all these things and I'm tired of it. We've been dealing with it for years, but I still remember when my mom was. We see her, you know, moments, you know, with the eggs, though it turned into something else quickly. We see, you know, the moment in the store with the baseball cards, though it turned into something else very quickly. We saw, you know, the moments that he shared with her on the porch and, you know, the brilliance that she might have had being, you know, top of her class in high school in those. And even with the Glenn Close character and her being an angry Betty and a maybe unfit mom from the past, and the way she may have raised the Amy Adams characters in these, you know, horrible upbringings, like setting the dad on fire and him abusing her. We saw that, but we also saw how much his grandmother cared for him. We don't get to see that all the time. Sometimes a shitty character in our movies is a shitty character all the way through. There is no redemption, no redeemable qualities anywhere. kind of made me mad, y'all. Kind of made me mad. Like, I just don't give us a double standard here. Don't do that. For the most part, I enjoyed this movie for what it was. Is it, you know, Oscar worthy and oh my God, it was so incredible? No, I've seen this before. I will say that Amy Adams and especially Glenn Close here, she did such a good job. This took me out of her. I have forever, you know, no matter what she's done in Hollywood and films, I have forever seen her as, you know, the crazy Fatal Attraction woman who put that rabbit in the pot. Here, I didn't see that. I didn't see that. I saw something different, and she gave a really great performance here. With the JD character, the son character, when he was a teen, it was good. It wasn't, you know, bad. It wasn't, you know, outstanding as far as, you know, the young man who portrayed him, as well as the adult character. I thought that both of those characters could have gave a little bit more. But the sister character was very outstanding here. I liked everything that she had to give. It was very believable, and she was able to display herself as a teenager and as an adult. Was very good. The film could have given a little bit more as far as backstory, as you know, to why, a little bit more nuance as to why these characters were the way they were and why the mother was so attached to her dad to where she would, you know, fall into drugs and wayward behavior, you know, after he passes. We do get, you know, that he was the only one who understood her, but we needed a little bit more. Other than that, I didn't have a problem with this film. And I feel like critics and reviewers alike are being really heavy-handed and choosing where they want to see nuance and three-dimensional characters. But you guys, that was my review of Hillbilly Elegy. If you got something else from this film and you feel like I'm a little bit in the right, please drop down and tell me that. I need to hear those things. If you agree with the critics and you feel like, oh, how dare they display these women on screen like this? How dare? Drop down and say that. But I hope you guys enjoyed my review. I hope you come back for more. I hope you drop down and you subscribe to my channel. I see you guys for my next movie review. Bye.